right, this isn't your typical open house, everyone. Prepare to be amazed once again. Sound effects. As we take you behind, that was very impressive. As we take you behind closed doors this morning, a tour of America's largest home. The Biltmore House in Asheville, North Carolina has 250 rooms and has quite an incredible history.
It's a wonderful place. I love the fact that it is inspired by Europe, but it's very American.
As American as any French chateau can be in the mountains of North Carolina. George Vanderbilt, who inherited $200 million from his family's fortune, came here in the late 1800s from New York.
And he fell in love with the natural scenery of this area.
Acting on that love, he bought 125,000 acres, encompassing more than 4 Carolina counties. Just look at this commanding view from the Biltmore balcony. All that land from here to the Great Smoky Mountains, his.
This is the top 1% of the top 1% of the wealthiest Americans in the country.
And this is what George Vanderbilt built for his family of 3, the Biltmore House, the largest home by far ever constructed in the U.S., with 250 rooms, including 34 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces.
Biltmore House is actually 6 stories. There's a sub-basement, a basement, and then 4 stories above that.
The Biltmore's floor space spans an incredible 175,000 square feet. Think about it this way. Take a typical 1,700 square foot home, and you can fit 100 of them inside the Biltmore with room to spare.
It's a large house. It's an enormous house.
As impressive as the Biltmore is inside, it's the outside that's truly jaw-dropping. Vanderbilt hired Frederick Law Olmsted, the man who designed New York's Central Park, and this is what he came up with. Lush gardens and a grand lawn, extensively landscaped. So vast is the property that even today, there's just one way into the Biltmore. You go through an entry gate, drive 3 miles through fields and forest, and even those who make the drive every day get goosebumps by the final turn.
When I do round that corner, it's still that awe factor. The house does not cease to amaze you.
A house this large and this isolated has other benefits as well.
President Roosevelt visited, as did President McKinley.
And during World War II, the National Gallery of Art secretly moved 100 of its most prized paintings into the Biltmore for safekeeping.
And it had 6 sections divided by 5 firewalls, so they knew if there was a fire, the artworks would be protected.
Visitors now are seeing the Biltmore exactly as it looked when the Vanderbilts lived here.
I think it's important for our guests today to get to experience a bygone era, to get to see a true masterpiece.
They were the wealthiest Americans in the world, and yes, they did build this grand home, this European chateau in western North Carolina. On the other hand of it, you know, the Vanderbilts did a lot of good things for people too. There was a side of him that he wanted to give back, so it wasn't all about money.
And if you're waiting for a but, here it is.
But they did like to live, and they lived in grand style.
Oh, yes, they did. The Vanderbilt family still owns Biltmore, but it's been open to the public since 1930. Now, tomorrow, a tour of the mega mansion built by legendary Hollywood producer Aaron Spelling.